Welcome to spring of 2023 in the Las Vegas Valley. It's pretty amazing. As I record this on April 7th, we are experiencing our fifth day in the 70s so far this year. This has been a really cold winter. A lot of rain, a lot of snow. In fact, record snowfall up at Mount Charleston and Lee Canyon. If you're into skiing, 265 inches of snow so far this winter water year. Pretty impressive. Beats the previous record high of 255 inches by almost a foot. So what's that mean for housing in the Las Vegas Valley? Well, that's a good question. Let's go ahead and look at some numbers here. This is the April 2023 market update for resale condos and townhomes, the two segments of the multifamily housing market that I look at every month. I am Justin Miller with the Chong Miller Group. At the Chong Miller Group, we help people build wealth through real estate. We help people buy and sell condos, townhomes, as well as single family homes and new construction homes as well. Please share this video with your friends, colleagues, neighbors, family members, anyone that you think could benefit from looking at real information about what's actually taking place in the market. All right, so let's go ahead and dig right into the numbers. This is the companion video to the market update for resale single family houses in the Las Vegas Valley. This one, condos and townhomes, we look at condos first. Now, as I said, I recorded this on April 7th. I pulled the data on the market on April 7th. So we are looking at the March numbers, and we're making month-over-month comparisons from February to March. We're making year-over-year comparisons from March of 22 to March of 23. What happened? All good, all good. Sell price, right? What's the median sell price for resale condos? At the end of March, the median sell price was $224,500. That is up. That is up 3.2% from $217,500. That's a pretty healthy month-on-month gain, 3.2%, $7,000. Right, that's a pretty healthy gain. Pricing went up. Now, if we look year over year, we've got a different story because condo prices had peaked in May of 2022 at $250,000. So we're down $25,100 from that peak in May. We're actually down $5,500 from the $230,000 that we were looking at March last year. So we are down 2.4% year over year. That compares, by the way, to being down 8.7% year over year for single family homes. So the condo market, we went up really strongly in price in March. I think that that's actually really encouraging. I think that's great news. And I think looking at the rest of the data, as we will over the next few minutes, we have reason to believe that we actually are seeing now a trend in place, which is going to be increasing prices in the condo market in the Las Vegas Valley. So really good news. All right, what about condos sold? Right, it's nice if pricing goes up, but if there's only 2 or 3 condos that sold because prices went up, that's not so great. We want to see confirmation in the volume numbers. And so we've got really good confirmation of this increasing pricing sitting in the sold or closed units for condos. The number of condos sold, 327 in the month of March of 2023. That is up. It's up 28.7% from the 254 condos that sold in February of 2023. That's a really big increase in the number of condos that were sold. And we saw that happening with prices going up by 3.2%. So So that's really encouraging. Now, I will point out we're down 500 from 515 condos, or down 36.5% from the number that we saw in March of last year. But March of last year was the peak volume that we had seen for condo sales last year. We're actually now the highest volume we've had since August of 2022. So we're recovering almost 100% to normal transaction volume in this market after having spent multiple months with really incredibly low, historically low transaction volume in this market. We're now back to approximately average volume. So this is really encouraging. Prices going up at normal volume. Now, last month I pointed out, and I always point out in my single family housing market update, but last month I pointed out for the first time specific numbers for the pending contracts, meaning those contracts that were written for sale that have not yet closed in the condo market and in the townhome market. So I want to talk about that just for a second. In March, we saw 339 pending contracts for condos. That's actually more than the sold number. That number is up 15.7% from the 293 pending that we saw in February. So that suggests there's more growth right around the corner, because a pending contract is a contract that should be closing in the following month. Now, some contracts will take a little bit longer, and obviously some contracts will fall out and go back on market. But this is not only a really big increase in sales volume, closed volume, this is a really big increase further in the pending contracts, future closed volume. So we're up month over month on that by 15.7%. So the really encouraging sign here about how the condo market, the resale condo market, is evolving. Prices are going higher on increasing sales volume with still increasing pending contract volume as well. Well, what about the supply side, right? That definitely is showing buyers are returning to this market. They are buying. They are putting things into contract to buy. Right? That's great, because with no buyers, you don't get pending contracts. You don't get closed sales. But sellers are another issue. It's true we need sellers to get contracts and sales, but sellers put their condos into the market waiting for buyers. Now, there's, some people will wait passively, some people will wait actively, and they engage in marketing. They hire an agent who's really helping them to move their condo. But regardless of the particular techniques, strategies sellers use, they list their properties into the market, and those properties sit there as inventory, for sale inventory to be sold. What's going on with inventory? Because that tells us something about what's going on with sellers, with the sales side of the market. Well, inventory, 722 condos for sale at the end of March of 2023. That is down. It is down 14.3% from the 842 that were for sale at the end of February of 2023. This then shows us a strong 6-month downtrend in available inventory for sale. I've been commenting multiple times over the prior videos. We're going to see significant inventory constraints in this market because we've got this strong downtrend in inventory, and it's going to take a lot to reverse that. Every time something sells, it's no longer in inventory. Every time something goes into contract, it's no longer in inventory waiting to be put into contract. And so we need more houses coming into inventory, more condos coming into inventory. Well, those come in as newly listed resale condos. How does that number look? 370 newly listed resale condos came into the market in March of 2023. That number is up. It's up by 3.6% from the 357 newly listed condos that came into the market in February of 2023. So that's a slight improvement, but it's not really helping us with this low inventory at all. We are down 34.6% on newly listed from what we saw in March of 2022, where we were seeing inventory build, but we were not getting to really great numbers. We never got to even average inventory for the condo market in the Las Vegas Valley. While we were seeing growth in inventory, we never got back to the normal level. We're always constrained in inventory, and we're seeing that coming down further. Interestingly, March and April are the months of the year in which we typically see the greatest newly listed inventory and new listings coming into the market, right? People decide it's no longer winter, I'm going to start listing my property for sale. They decide it's spring, I'm going to start listing my property for sale. They clean their houses for spring, and they figure if they get into contract in the April timeframe, right, maybe about after a month, the May timeframe, that's okay, because when they move, they're probably not interfering with their kids' schooling. They're probably going to be looking at nicer weather for the move. And so we typically see sellers returning to the market, coming in with new listings, newly listed resales in March and April. Those are the strongest months of the year, typically by seasonal trends. What did we see? We saw March was up 3.6% from February. So yeah, we were up slightly on new listings, but not nearly enough to reverse the trend we're seeing on falling inventory. So if March was one of the two strongest months of 2023 on newly listed condos for sale, we're going to have really big problems with inventory as we get into the summer, the late summer, the fall of 2023. Inventory is really tight, and we've got to pay attention to that, because this is going to create constraints in the market, and those constraints will be manifest as significant price increases, because clearly buyers are returning. They have returned, but they are still coming into this market. They are still wanting to purchase condos. They are still wanting to put condos into contract to be able to close in the next month or so. This is what I'd been predicting, actually. Going back, looking at my market forecast video that I'd done for 2023 in November of 2022, you'll see I'd been saying inventory would be coming down because sellers would be returning to this market after buyers, and we would start seeing the same kinds of pressures that we were seeing in the second half of 2020 after the economy reopened, after the pandemic forced shutdown. And we started to see very low levels of inventory forcing prices higher, significantly higher. That's what we've got going on here in the condo market. And by the way, also in the single family home market, and we'll see in a minute, in the townhome market as well. Now, one other statistic I want to give you before we turn our attention to townhomes: 146 back on market condos in March of 2023. That is 30.9% of contracts that have been written failed. Now, that is an improvement from the 34.7% that we'd seen in February. It's an improvement of where we've been over multiple of the past several months. But it's something you need to be aware of. Contracts still have some fragility to them. And so if you're a buyer, you want to make sure you're protecting your contract. If you're a seller, same thing. You want to make sure you're protecting your contract. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at townhomes. Before we do, please, again, smash the like button, hit subscribe if you've not already, and share these videos with your friends, colleagues, neighbors, and family members if you think they could benefit at all by having actual knowledge about what's going on in the marketplace, instead of simply listening to the talking heads out there who are trying to sell nothing more than their talking head. All right, townhomes. Price for townhomes. Price went up. Right? There's a common theme here. The entire market looked great in March of 2023. Townhome price $314,000. That is up $14,000 or 4.7% from the $300,000 price that we had seen in February of 2023. Now, I will tell you that in the townhome space, there are so few townhomes, and therefore it's such a small part of the market, overall housing market, it's about 5%, that any individual property ends up throwing the statistics one way or another. So we've seen townhome pricing fluctuating sort of between 300,000 and 320,000 over the past 5 months. And so while we're up 4.7% on townhomes for month over month for the February to March 2023, do take that with a little bit of grain of salt. I think this may slightly overstate the strength in the townhome market. It's strong, and we'll look more at other statistics that'll show that strength. But this may be kind of an unsustainable trajectory. We're going up. There's no question we're going up. But this is a really fast pace here. Now we are down 3.4% from the 325,000 that we were at in March of 2022. So that's really good. We were down 2.4% in the condo space year over year. We were down 8.7% year over year in the single family home space. And townhome prices month over month, definitely the strong portion of the market, up 4.7%. Now, what about townhomes sold? This number is really interesting. In March of 2023, we had 230 townhomes sold. That's a really healthy number. That's a really great number. That is up from the 167 townhomes that were sold in February of 2023. That is up 37.7% from what we had seen the prior month. Now, last month I'd suggested the February numbers may have been slightly depressed, may have been moved from late February closings into early March closings. So this number may be slightly elevated from what we would have expected, but this is still really strong growth in the number of transactions in the townhome space. 230, up 37.7% from February of 2023. We're down 38.3% from the 373 townhomes that we sold in March of 2022. Let me caution you, March 2022 was the volume high for all of 2022. So that number you have to take with a grain of salt, because after March of 2022, volume numbers started coming down pretty significantly. In fact, so significantly that the volume of 230 that we saw in March of this year is just about normal for townhome sales for the time period 2009 to 2021. So we're just about normal on townhome sales now. It's kind of interesting, right? Now, if we look forward in time, we would want to know how many contracts are lined up to be sold in the following month. And so we look at pending sales. Now, I always include pending sales when I'm looking at single family home sales. I rarely include them, maybe make a slight note about them in the condo and townhome video. But let me go ahead and give you numbers to give you some insight right here about how this market is actually changing right before our eyes. There were 294 pending townhome contracts, meaning buyer and seller got into a contract, but it has not yet closed. 294 in March of 2023. That compares to 230 sold. So that suggests that we've got a really big number coming up for April. Maybe some of that spills into May, but this is really encouraging. Not only were we at normal sales, we've got another 60, we've got another 30% approximately in pending above what we saw on actual sales for the month of March of 2023. This is up a pretty staggering 53.0% from the 192 pending townhomes that we saw being in contract at the end of February of 2023. And by the way, that 192 pending at the end of February turned into 230 sold, right? So some things will go into contract and sell very quickly. Sometimes something spills over from the prior month, so there may have been a pending in January that ended up closing in March. So the numbers will float slightly. So if we had 192 pendings in February, which became 230 sold in March, well, we've got 294 pendings at the end of March. What's that going to turn into in April? April could be an incredibly strong volume month for closed transactions in the townhome space. Now, I will point out, actually, remember 2021 was a record volume year. The pending number for townhomes is way above normal for any year we could compare it to except 2021. A lot of strength, right? So prices were way up. Prices were up 4.7%. And in the face of those increasing prices, we saw sales increasing by 37.7%. And we saw pendings increasing by 53%. Right? Because those contracts are going into contract with those median sold prices. So this is a really, really strong indicator for the townhome market space. Now, what about inventory? Because if we've got all these sales taking place in the townhome space, sales taking place at increasing prices, we need inventory. We need sellers to be paying attention and filling the needs of those buyers that are very clearly out there, snapping up townhomes and putting them into contract. There were 476 townhomes sitting in inventory waiting to be sold at the end of the month of March of 2023. That's down 18.6% from the 585 townhomes that were waiting to be sold at the end of February of 2023. This is a strong 6-month downtrend in the level of inventory in this market. Very consequential. It's something I've been highlighting for each of the past 6 months. It's something that I've been forecasting would continue for a while and become problematic. If you go back and you look at my market forecast from November of 2022 about what I saw going to be happening in the market in 2023. Buyers have returned and they're still coming back, more of them. And sellers, where are they? Inventory has come down for 6 months with a strong downtrend, and inventory is down 18.6% from where we were just 1 month prior. Now, some people could use the statistics in a misleading manner, and they could say, well, we're actually up 52.6% from the inventory of 312 that we had in March of 2022, so year over year. So it's true, inventory is way up from where it was a year ago, but even so, we're sitting at less than 50% of the normal townhome inventory for the period post-2008. We've got small, constrained inventory out there in the townhome space. We have small inventory constraints in the single-family home space and in the condo space as well. We are running out of houses of any type to be able to sell. So how do we correct that? We get newly listed resale townhomes into the market. So how does that number look? 310 townhomes were newly listed into the marketplace in March of 2023. That number is up. It's up what looks like a healthy 22.0% from the 254 townhomes that were listed, newly listed resale townhomes in the month of February. But this is actually a below normal March. We are down 15.3% from the 366 that were listed in March of 2022. So this is not a help with inventory at all. We're not growing inventory, right? If you think about, we had 192 pending coming into March and 230 sold. We have 294 pending coming into April. It's only 310 newly listed townhomes. We're seeing inventory coming down in April, right? I mean, that's a pretty strong, numerically easy to make projection right now. So inventory is going to fall further in April. And March and April tend to be the two strongest months of the year for inventory build, because they're the two seasonally strongest months for new listings coming into the market every year. We have an inventory problem very clearly manifesting itself in the townhome space. We have an inventory problem that's starting to manifest itself in the condo space. We have an inventory problem that is manifesting itself in the single family home space. We've got sellers who are missing in action. We need sellers coming back into this market. And there are structural reasons to think that sellers are going to continue to not step forward at the levels that we need to meet the buyer demand, where buyer demand is now very clearly being demonstrated with a 37.7% increase in sales and a 53% increase in pending contracts. Now, one other thing back on market for townhomes, 98 townhomes came back on market, failed pendings. That is 29.9% of contracts. This is down pretty substantially from the 32.7% of contracts that failed in February. Still very elevated, normal, again, 10 to 15%. So make sure you're paying attention to the fragility of contracts, because they continue to be fragile with double the rate of failures that we find in a more normally functioning marketplace. I am Justin Miller with the Chong Miller Group. At the Chong Miller Group, we help people build wealth through real estate. We help people buy and sell homes, including condos and townhomes. We help people with investment properties, as well as primary homes, secondary homes, and vacation homes for sale or for purchase. If you're looking for help in your real estate transactions in the Las Vegas Valley, please reach out to us. If you're looking for help for your transactions somewhere else, you may reach out to us as well, because we can give you referrals to other highly helpful, highly analytical, skilled agents in different parts of the country. I will see you in the next video. Thank you.